The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the New York Times put out an article basically breaking down Trump's behind the scenes talk about immigration and how to stop the immigration flow. Now this article is actually based on a book that's come out called Border Wars, Inside Trump's Assault on Immigration, that's written by Times reporters Michael D. Shear and Julie Hirschfield Davis. But it's interesting because in the article they talk about how Trump wanted to actually create like a trench actually at the U.S.-Mexico border, like that's filled with water and actually filled with snakes and alligators. You know what I'm saying? He's even gone so far as to looking into shutting down the entire U.S.-Mexico border and then like putting up like an electric gate with like points on the top of the gate that can actually pierce human flesh and all of that, and has repeatedly talked about shooting migrants after publicly saying that he wanted to the border security can shoot migrants if they throw rocks. He was told that that was illegal. Then at another meeting, he basically was like, well, you know, shoot him in the legs to slow him down. He had to be told that that shit was illegal too. So but it's you know, this is coming from a man that thinks like immigration is an invasion. So like, what do y'all expect? The Green Wall and Graduate Party, the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So Donald Trump took to Twitter today talking about, I have come to the conclusion that this is not an impeachment proceeding. This is a coup. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, but like, are you fucking kidding me? All the fuck shit that the Republicans or the right wing have done, from Trump loading up all of the judgeships with Republicans and putting all of these acting directors and secretary members in position, cut from his same dirty ass cloth. Now you want to call this a coup, man? Man, the fuck up. Like, are you kidding me? Now, this is all in regards to the Ukrainian call, which actually Secretary of State Mike Pompeo admitted that he was on after previously saying he didn't know anything about it. He actually was on a call where Trump was pressuring Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to open up an investigation against Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, who actually sits on a very large natural gas company's board out there in the Ukraine. Now, keep this in mind, Pompeo, actually said he's going to he vowed to block 5 current and former State Department officials from being investigated by lawmakers regarding the impeachment proceedings, accusing the House Democrats of like intimidation and bullying. Again, shut the fuck up. Do you know who your president is? Like, you want to accuse them of intimidating and bullying? Like, cut it the fuck out, man up, and just deal with what's coming to y'all. Now, Kurt Volker, though, the U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine, who actually resigned the other day, I told y'all about, he actually is set to meet with Congress tomorrow, but in private. So we'll see how that goes. Green Wall and Graduate Party, the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. When that white privilege don't work, boys, it leads to a lot of tears and a lot of fears. You know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna get real scared to pull that trigger, especially these cops in Dallas. Now, back in 2018 in Dallas, Texas, there was a off-duty police officer, a white woman named Amber Geiger, who actually went. Reports around that time suggested that she was drunk. But after being out, she goes into her apartment, or what she thinks is her apartment, but it's actually the apartment that's on the floor directly below hers. So she thinks it's her apartment, but it's the wrong floor, and gets into the apartment, thinking that there's an intruder in there, when it's actually the person who really lives there, 26-year-old black man, Botham Jean, and shoots and kills this man. And of course there was uproar and a lot of rage about it, especially from the black community, because we tired of this shit happening, you dig? Well, after trials and being charged with murder and all of that, she was actually convicted yesterday of murder of Botham Jean. So the sentencing phase hasn't happened yet, but the Dallas Morning News actually reports this is the first time that a Dallas police officer has been convicted of murder since the 1970s. That lets you know what type of time we on, and it could possibly be, as Botham Jean, or as the family's lawyer Lee Merritt said, he said that the mother actually said this, but that, this could be a victory for black people, and a sign that time, the tides are changing. The police are going to be held accountable for their actions. It's a lot of shit that I would want to know, a lot of questions I have about that story, though, but that's what's happening, though. We'll see what happens in sentencing. Green Wall and Graduate report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Make sure y'all sign my petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or even go to change.org and look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter by Bishop Grady, $hip Grady, laying out exactly why he should be removed from that platform, from violating Twitter policies, putting us, U.S. troops, people abroad in danger, spreading all sorts of misinformation deliberately. Like, the man has to be stopped. If Twitter is not going to hold him accountable, we the people got to demand that shit, you dig? Now, moving on, over in Georgia, a federal judge actually blocked the implementation of an abortion ban that was supposed to go into place. One of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country, known as the fetal heartbeat law, which basically says that you can't have an abortion once a heartbeat is detected on the fetus, which can happen as early as 6 weeks in a pregnancy, which, you know, many women don't know they're even pregnant at 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's you know, it could allow for some justice on some level to be served, but, you know, again, who's winning here? Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. All this hype around North Korea and what they shooting and what they not, man, it's really none of people's fucking business. It's their country, right? Like, they're an autonomous country. But accusations are going against North Korea for them test firing ballistic missiles, and some observers believe that these missiles were actually underwater missiles. So, but this is coming days before the United States and North Korea are expected to reopen nuclear talks. So it's to me a weird situation, because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? Like, they can do what they want, you know what I'm saying, as long as they're not harming anybody else. But I guess people want to be at peace with the notion that, oh, North Korea is not testing nuclear weapons and they're not trying to you know, prepare themselves for a nuclear war like the United States or Russia may be. Get the fuck over it. There y'all. Green War and graduate. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Over there in Hong Kong, you know what I'm saying? I gotta talk loud because it's loud out here. It's a lot of action in this area that I'm in. But check this out though. Over in Hong Kong, there were actually sit-in protests that took place again, but this time it was outside of the school of the 18-year-old that actually got shot in yesterday's protest that I told y'all about. Basically, the protest where that got violent, it was the first time that Hong Kong police had actually used live ammunition against the protesters in all 17 straight weeks of these pro-democracy government protesters have been since they've been protesting. And this kid, 18-year-old kid, was actually shot in the chest, as I told y'all yesterday. Sang Chi Kin is his name. But he's actually in stable condition. But keep in mind, the officer said that he feared for his life. Black people, don't that sound familiar? You know what I'm saying? But he's in stable condition. Keep in mind, though, 96 protesters were arrested yesterday for rioting, essentially. Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. These are the three corruption charges that Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is being accused of. And pre-trial hearings have actually begun in these cases, so for which he's been indicted. So, you know, we'll see what happens. An arrest may come his way if he does not remain prime minister. He's currently trying to form a unity government with Benny Gantz, the actual person that the ex-military chief that ran against him for the prime minister seat. So, you know, we'll see how this pans out. I mean, if you ask me, the dude is a straight up racist, and he really doesn't give a fuck about anything other than like white supremacy or, you know, with his Zionist type ideals, you know what I'm saying? But, and actually, this is shit that can just be proven factually, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we'll see how this pans out though. Green War and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. In Latin America, over in Peru, actually, there's a huge political crisis going down there. The biggest probably seen in decades, where the Peruvian president, Martin Vizcarra, actually invoked his constitutional privilege, or, you know, invoked the constitutional provision to actually dissolve Congress and have new parliamentary elections. Now, in response to this, their Congress actually suspended Vizcarra as the president and declared Arauz is his name actually, to be Mercedes Arauz, the vice president, as the interim president, while Vizcarra is suspended. Now, public opinion show that people feel like Vizcarra is actually correct in his move, because the Congress, apparently there are right-wing lawmakers in Congress that continue to block all of his measures to essentially fight against corruption. So that's what the word on the street is. We'll see how this pans out. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org and look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Spelled out exactly how it sounds, by Bishop Grady, $Hit Grady, where I lay out exactly why you should be removed from that platform, from violating Twitter policies to putting us in danger, U.S. troops, people abroad in danger. Like, the list doesn't stop. Get that man out of here. Now, I think his rhetoric on Twitter and, out loud or in public actually carry over into playing parts in other nations, calling for people to be nationalists and all of that. Right currently, though, the United Nations is calling on Europeans to do something about the migrants that are actually trying to cross the Mediterranean and die. What has been noted is that this is the 6th year in a row that at least 1,000 people have died trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea from Africa and all of that, trying to get into Europe. Now, what Liz Throssell said, who's actually a spokesperson for the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner of Refugees, actually said that this is, at the same time, this is actually the lowest number of people that in the 6-year period that have actually tried to cross the Mediterranean Sea. So I don't know if that's indicative of anything other than the fact that people are being deterred from more people are being deterred from making that journey. But I mean, shit is crazy though, because they're journeying for a reason. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no easy sale. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So just to keep y'all on game, just so y'all can stay woke, over in South Haven, Mississippi, there's an attorney that's actually for the city defending themselves against the civil suit filed by the family of Ishmael Lopez, who 2 years ago was killed during, I guess you could call it a police raid, but police basically went to issue a search warrant at a house. They went to the wrong fucking house. They end up shooting Ishmael Lopez, who's an undocumented immigrant, through the door. So they go to the wrong house, they kill somebody unnecessarily, and basically end up trying to fight this civil suit. And what the attorney is actually arguing is that, an attorney for the city that is that, well, because Lopez was an undocumented immigrant, that he has no constitutional rights. Even though he was on American soil, he doesn't have rights of a U.S. citizen, so they can't be charged for murder. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org, look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter, made by me, Bishop Grady, $Hit Grady. Lays out exactly why he should be removed from the platform, violating Twitter policies, putting us, U.S. troops, people abroad in danger, to just spreading out misinformation and being an all-around dickhead. Now, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC's, back in 2017, they actually had repealed net neutrality provisions that were basically set to preserve an open internet and keep internet service providers, ISPs like, Comcast, Verizon or whatever, from basically being able to block or slow down the information from like certain particular websites, basically. Now, in tech news, it basically shows that a federal court has actually upheld those repeals, but they actually didn't say that states, well, it actually said that states are actually allowed to implement their own net neutrality provisions, basically. So that's where we stand with that shit. Green Wall and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, tech website The Verge actually published a leaked audio of Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg basically him talking about if an Elizabeth Warren presidency came into play, that would really suck. Elizabeth Warren, for those who don't know, this is a Democratic senator who actually is running for president. She's a senator in Massachusetts, and her running for president for 2020, one of the things she's proposed, among many what I would consider personally good things, but one of the things she's proposed is that the breaking up of tech companies due to their violation of and what many see as like antitrust violations, as well as like, you know, all the privacy breaches and all of that shit. So she's advocating the breaking up of companies, but Zuckerberg was basically saying that her presidency would suck, but he thinks he would have a legal argument against the government, that they would basically just take it to court, and he thinks they could fight and win that if they tried to break Facebook up. So it's just very revealing as far as Zuckerberg's thought on these issues that the public are having with these giant tech companies, including Facebook. Doesn't seem like he's trying to break up shit. Green Wall and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So Donald Trump's re-election campaign and the Republican National Committee have raised $125 million in the third quarter alone. Now put this in perspective, because I told y'all the other day on how Bernie Sanders, and this is a big deal, like he raised $25 million in the third quarter, far more than any other Democratic candidate had raised in the quarter so far. But notice how Trump and the RNC, it raised 5 times more than that. This is insane, people. This is what we up against. You know what I'm saying? A lot of corporate greed. Definitely, these are the types of entities that are invested in him. And with Republicans actually getting that Citizens United ruling passed some time ago, you know, we may never know who's like. It's possible to not know who's really, where the money's really coming from. You know what I'm saying? Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in Cali, I told you California be on the progressive side of things, or definitely be on the right side of history and shit. But in this case, it seems that they are, because they signed into law something that will affect tens of thousands of daycare workers, childcare workers. It's suspected 40,000 childcare workers will be impacted, and these workers get state subsidies or whatever. They'll be impacted by this law that basically allows them to unionize. This is something they've been fighting for about 16 years, where they won't be considered state employees, but they will be allowed to like collectively bargain for wages and over other issues. So Green Wall and Graduation, that's a big report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Over at Harvard, actually a federal judge have ruled that Harvard University's admissions office does not discriminate against Asian Americans. This is a case that was actually brought to them, to government by students for fair admission, who are long basically go against affirmative action. They don't like the idea of affirmative action. They feel like it leads to discrimination, and the federal judge basically say, ha, it doesn't. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, this Black Files News report. Man, it's been 1 year since Jamal Khashoggi, the columnist for the Washington Post, was actually murdered. This dual citizen of the United States and Saudi Arabia was actually in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. Ends up getting chopped up, carried out, and then thrown in some furnace, as investigators found out or whatever, that you know, he's in the air, you know what I'm saying? He's in nature now, all in particles and shit. It's fucked up. CIA investigators found that Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, actually ordered the hit, yet they still remain close allies to the United States and to the Trump administration. Well, I ain't gonna put that all on Trump, because let's keep it real, Obama was cool with Mohammed bin Salman as well, at least so it seems. But there's a U.S. law firm that's actually started a petition with the International Criminal Court to actually bring a crime against humanity investigation onto Mohammed bin Salman. Meanwhile, top U.S. execs are